how to create connections and networks within rural communities through social media. The objective of this video is to describe the different opportunities created through the efficient and effective use of social media, digital technologies, and the creation of networks for rural development. By the end of this session, the learner should be able to make a good strategy, develop of ideas to create connections and networks within rural communities and villages through social media and IT tools, understand objectives and how to put them into practice, and understand social media and IT tools for rural development. What are the key aspects of media used in rural communities? How exactly we can create connections? The world has changed drastically in the last century, especially in the last 50 years. New technology and media have created a parallel world in which people are always connected, especially the younger ones. Communication, music, entertainment, advertising have transformed during the years, and adapt to the continuous changes is not always an easy task. New technology and media have created new ways to communicate and have influenced all the aspects of our world, social, political, and economic. Today, approaching new media and technology seems to be necessary to not be excluded from the globalized world. New technology and media rely on the biggest revolution of the last 2 centuries, the Internet. Internet does not provide only information, but also all the types of products and services one can ask for. The impact of Internet in our world is massive. In a matter of few years, everything has changed, and almost every aspect of our life depends on it, even when it seems it is not. The diffusion of Internet and then new media and technology has proceeded from the main cities, arriving only after in little villages and rural communities. A rural community is defined as a community which has established itself far from the bigger cities and which focuses mostly on activities related to agriculture, rearing, and craftsmanship. New technology usually spreads from the center, arriving to the outer edges only after some time. Even if this expansion today is really fast, introducing new media and technology to rural communities is not easy. Since these communities are based mostly on manual work, the use of new technology and media is seen as something very difficult, almost impossible, even in the everyday life. The life in rural communities can be defined as harsher than the life of urban centers, especially those of big proportions. Access to services is not as easy. People sometimes have to rely on the closest urban center to get access to what they need. These communities feel at times excluded from the country's economic and social growth. Little communities may not have all the services and technology needed nowadays, but are the core of a country's history. In many countries, the lack of opportunities, technology and services has caused the migration of younger generations and families to bigger centers, causing a depopulation of the rural areas, which sometimes become uninhabited. So how can we make the use of new media effective in rural areas and bring added value to their potential and create connections? We have to make people from rural communities understand the added value of new media in their everyday and working life. Despite most production activities in rural communities being manual activities relating to agriculture, rearing, and craftsmanship, these also need the support of new media to be productive and active in today's economy. It is not recommended to overlook the importance of new media in rural communities because these can lead to a lack of competitivity when in reality the services and products they have to offer have a major untapped potential. Exploring this potential can help revive these rural centers which are more and more uninhabited, and this way create sustainable pathways which can help these centers in an innovative way. One of the key steps to take in this direction is to make the inhabitants of rural areas understand how new media works and what it can bring to their lives. The most significant consequence brought by the population is the migration of young people from their original communities, resulting in a disproportion in the age groups. We all know young people are very predisposed to the use of new media since they are practically born with it. Instead, the approach to this is much more difficult for adults and older people. Many of them look at new media with suspicion. Sometimes they are willing to learn how to use it, but they find it something not suitable for them and they give up after a few tries. It is important to make them understand, with the right tools, that they can learn how to use new media efficiently and bring added value to their person, activity, and to their territory in general. We have to create a pathway which can improve the view on how new media for the adult and older generations and provide them with the guides and skills they needed. This pathway must involve all generations, even younger ones, to give this journey a sense of true sustainability and inclusion. Sometimes young people leave their native villages due to the lack of service and job opportunities in their communities, but they are creative, active, and only need the skills to boost up their career opportunities. Many young people have created different startups combining new technology and media with the classic activities of rural communities. For example, farms started to promote their products on internet using promotional campaigns to attract more customers, including foreign ones, and therefore increasing their sales. The rural community has to approach new technology in its entirety. To do this, it is essential to provide leadership, knowledge, and innovation. By providing this set of competences, skills, and approaches, the community will be enriched and understand how new media works and how they can be implemented in their everyday and working life. Define SMART goals. Goals and objectives are two different things. Objectives are the specific steps planned in order to achieve a goal. Goals are the final results. They are what you want to achieve. When defining a goal, it is useful to use the SMART technique, which will help you define clearly what your goals are and what you will achieve with the objectives you have previously defined. The work on objectives and goals should be done simultaneously so that you can define a specific and detailed plan in which the objectives are suited to the goals. Remember to always think in the short and long term. It should be specific, define clearly what you want to achieve. Measurable, define how you can measure your achievement. Achievable, the goal you define has to be realistic. It must be achievable within your possibilities or through some objectives you know you can turn into reality. It should be relevant. The goal has to be pertinent with your objectives and with the field you work in. And timely. Your goals should be achieved within a specific date so you can manage your objective and the things you do accordingly. Communication skills. Social media has changed the way we all communicate. Today it is easier and faster to communicate with people around us, but at the same time, the communication skills in everyday life are changed and sometimes lack quality. Having a good communication on social media is key to convey the information to the target group or person correctly and efficiently. Communication is based on different types of content, including video, photos, surveys, text, etc. It is important to choose the content best suited to the target group or person. Define what are good lifelong community leaders. The development and rediscovery of rural communities can be encouraged by developing new skills and competences and providing knowledge about new media and how all of these can be used to promote the development of rural areas. Apart from skills and knowledge, it is important to also provide leadership formation for the community. Leadership is important in these little rural centers, especially because it can help drive their development and also incite the community to all work together towards a common objective. A community leader is a person who is perceived to represent a community's interests and needs. They have a vast range of roles and hold this position voluntarily. A community leader must not be confused with a political one, their objectives being to develop the community, give ideas, and guide. He or she is the reference point of the community, a person on which everybody can rely on. Of course, a good community leader has some characteristics which need to be developed to create a sustainable and lifelong leader. For instance, maximize strengths and improving weaknesses. A good leader must identify strengths and weaknesses to maximize the possibility of achieving a good result. A good community leader has to define the potential their rural community has to offer, taking it as a basic for the creation of objectives that can bring added value to the community as a whole. Mobilize others. A good leader has to incite, motivate, and inspire all the people to work for a common goal. Especially in rural communities, people have to be convinced, to cooperate, and guided through the process. They have to feel motivated, useful, and active. Another characteristic: do not lead from above. A community leader must not be perceived by community as a person that only gives order and doesn't work side by side with others. A leader has to guide and give a structure in the activities and to participate actively in them. Create new mentors and leaders. This is the most important point for a lifelong good leadership. A good leader should guide actively and recruit new future leaders, guide them and teach them the skills, tips, and case studies they have experienced during their activities. This will create a sort of heritage about leadership that can help guide and improve the leading of the whole community. Social media usage. Today, social media is an important part of our life. Many companies and organizations have understood the power of social media and use it to promote their activities and products. Almost every company has a social media page for which it actively creates content to get closer to all target market. When approaching social media for professional use, you must keep in mind your target group. In fact, not all people use the same social media. For example, studies have underlined how Instagram is mostly used by young people between 17 and 24 years old. Therefore, it is a good idea to do some research first to find the most suited social media platform for your activity and target group. Today we have thousands of social media services around the world, so choosing the right one to address the target audience is paramount for a success promotional campaign. Nowadays, the most important social media services are definitely Facebook. Facebook can be considered as the origin of modern social media. It is the most used social networking service in the world, with billions of active accounts around the world. For this reason, Facebook should be used when planning a social media campaign. Instagram. Today, Instagram is one of the most used by young people. The most important characteristics of Instagrams are the presence of lots of photos, short videos, and Instagram stories, which today are one of the key features used by users. The content on Instagram must be very eye-catching since people rely more and more on images and videos than text itself. YouTube. This is the most important platform online for music and videos. YouTube, unlike Instagram, does not have a duration limit for its video, so it can be used for a variety of topics, from music videos to video tutorials. YouTube has become more and more important, and it has led to a new profession. The YouTuber, whose created content is followed constantly by thousands of users. LinkedIn is a professional social network that is oriented more to commercial and professional relationships than personal use. Here you can find companies and professionals who seek to promote themselves, network, and do business. There are many more social media services to add to the list, but these are the most important ones to be considered when planning a promotional campaign. The importance of hashtags. One of the most unique functionality of social media is the hashtag. People who use social media every day are familiar with their use, and it is important to understand how they work, what is their purpose, and how they can be created. Hashtags have been created by a social technology expert who first used them on Twitter. The aim was to gather discussions and online exchanges in a more restricted group to provide the user with a more precise and specific platform for the topic that they are looking for. To date, the hashtags are used and created by celebrities, by big companies and institutions to bring more followers and increase brand recognition. Creating a successful hashtag is not an easy task, but it can be crucial to increase awareness on what you want to promote on social media. It is important the hashtag reflects the essence of your work with simple and catchy words in a unique combination so that it encourages people to use it. After having decided on the hashtag, it is key to search for it on social media to see if it has been already created. If not, you can start spreading the hashtag using it on every social media platform available. It's useful to use it everywhere, even on leaflets, on messages, and others. Is my page successful? Creating a social media page is only the first step to spread awareness on social media. The contents you post on social media must be effective to catch the attention of the target audience. But how can you know if your page is successful and if the content you are posting is effective? The tools available for this purpose depend on the social media service you are using. For example, in Instagram you have access to a tool called Instagram Insights. Bear in mind that this function is only available for business accounts. It can help you visualize data on followers. To access Insights, you have to tap on the bar graph icon present on your page. Here you can find different sections. The first one is the followers section, in which you can find a summary of demographics, including gender, age group, and location of the followers of your page. This tool is especially important because it allows you to see if the content you are posting are effective for your target group. If not, it gives you an insight of the situation so that you can rethink the content you are posting. In this segment, you can also see online time, so you can adapt your posts to the best hours and days in which your followers are using the social media. You can see data on individual posts, the number of times your profile has been viewed, the number of clicks on links you have posted. You can play with this tool to discover more and more about your profile and your content so that you can become better, plan better, and design the most appropriate posts to create awareness. IT tools. Creating content to promote on social media is easier than you imagined. There are lots of media solutions. Before choosing one, you have to think of your limitations. You don't need proprietary or expensive solutions. You don't have to depend on an expensive specific hardware. In addition, you need to publish the video on the most known video streaming platform. Designing and editing videos. The first step is to record the video. You can use a professional video camera, but almost everyone has a smartphone and it is enough. If you want to make more professional looking videos with a smartphone, you can use a tripod or a gimbal for mobile phone. If the video is made with static hand-drawn images, the only thing you need is a scanner or take photos with your phone's camera and a suitable light. We recommend using software to select, organize, and edit the brightness and colors of the photographs. You can use a software like GFumb. Once the video, pictures, and sounds are recorded, you can edit them using a non-linear video editor. We recommend Kden Live. It is immensely popular, free, open source, and multi-platform. It is a part of the KDI project, one of the most important in the free software ecosystem. Kden Live is powerful and easier to use than other free alternatives like Cinelera. With this editor, you can assemble the video, add the music, and apply effects or credit titles. Integrating sounds and music. When recording sounds or voice, the best practice is to have the microphone as close to the audio source as possible. In my case, I have a boom mic just above the frame, about 40 centimeters away from my mouth. Now you are hearing my voice recorded by the camera's microphone, which is 3 meters away. As you can hear, the difference in quality is huge. This is called dual system. You can replicate this even when on a low budget with just using another smartphone with a recording app like HiQ MP3 voice recorder for Android. After starting your recording, ask the speaker to clap 3 times and then synchronize it in the video editor. You just have to align the 3 peaks from the waveform, and that's it. You can find lots of free sound effects to use in various libraries, one being the BBC Sound Effects Library. For music, one of the best sources is Jamendo. You can download the sound of music in MP3 or WAV format and use it with the video. Before using it, though, it is important to carefully read the license agreement of each file. If you are using a non-free song, YouTube or the author can take down your creation. If you want to mix sounds or music, you can use Audacity. Exporting and uploading. All the video editors use their own file format to store the video, effects, tracks, and all the specific details each software needs to work. In order to upload it online or use it in a video player, you need to export it in a standard format. This is often called an export or render. There are lots of formats. You only need to know that a video file is a container where reside video, audio, subtitles, or other information. Each one of these components is encoded with a codec. This is a complex topic and you don't need to know all the technical details. I'm going to present the most important formats. AVI. Being one of the oldest and most used ever, it is compatible with almost every player and internet video service, but it can be used directly for streaming. MP4. Nowadays, it's one of the most popular thanks to the compression and compatibility. OGG. This format is similar to the others but is free and unrestricted by software patents. For compatibility, we recommend MP4, but for storing it with free software and without problems with future players, could be interesting to also save as OGG. One of the things you have to choose is the aspect ratio of the video. Nowadays we have panoramic screens with formats like 16:9 or 60:10. If your recording has not the same aspect ratio, the video editor can deform the image or reframe it to fit in the output aspect ratio. I recommend recording and exporting in 16:9, the aspect ratio of YouTube and others alike. Another aspect is the resolution. There are many possible resolutions for 16:9 aspect ratio, but minimum recommended is 720p. Also, you shouldn't use in the video editor a resolution that is larger than what your camera delivers. Services like YouTube transform and enhance the video to their own preferred format. You should upload it with the maximum quality your camera and video editor can provide, but you should take into consideration your connection speed in order to upload the file in a reasonable time. You could maintain a bigger resolutions while increasing the compression, but the result could be bad. I recommend trying to export parts of the project in many combinations of resolutions, compressions, in order to find the perfect balance.